Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavlich and Jesse Martineau.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Me and Jesse podcast. My name is Mark Pavlich, and away in the Grove, the big sexy, all the way back from Montreal, Quebec,
Yes,
Fleur de Live. Mr. Jesse Martineau.
What's up? What's up, guys?
What's up, man? You're winning, baby. That's what you're doing. I know you're winning. You're winning everywhere, except football, but you're winning in life. You're winning in life, and your F1 team is just beyond dominant. I can't remember a season ever in the history of F1 where it's been this dominant, ever.
I don't think there has been one.
Well, I know. I'm just trying to slow roll you into it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there has not been, you know?
Yeah, there hasn't. You know, it is ridiculous out there right now, but whatever. You know what? I like it. Max Verstappen likes it.
Max let him be in the lead for 4 seconds. Did you see that? I sent you a text on that. Yeah. 4 seconds. He was in the lead. You had the pole position for 4 seconds.
Well, he gave it back to him too.
Yeah, I know. I think he does it up. He does it on purpose.
Down. I think they're gonna do a new thing where they see how far down he can drop to come back to win.
Yeah, that would be way more entertaining.
Well, I mean, that's what they're complaining about. That whatever though. Like the Las Vegas Strip. You know what? I have mixed feelings about that whole Las Vegas thing. I thought they actually did a pretty poor job of some of it. So,
a lot of people said that.
Yeah.
And the ticket price now is beyond bananas. Like, you understand what you're doing now in the world of sports. You are alienating the people from their own city from going to the actual event, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, the Raiders is like that too.
The Raiders are doing the same thing. The Raiders are doing the exact same thing. They're alienating people from the city of Las Vegas to actually go to the game, which I've always said that Mark Davis is easily one of the biggest imbecile owners in the NFL. Like, he is top 1 or 2 the worst owners in the NFL. And literally you have to look at it and say you're outpricing your citizens of your own city to go to football and to go to F1. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a stretch. I know they've signed contracts to come back next year and the year after and whatever the case may be, but I'm telling you, I don't know about that.
Well, they signed a 10-year deal for Vegas for the F1. 10 years.
Yeah, because they have everything in place now, right?
Yeah.
Once you build,
they spent a ton on building that thing.
Yeah, once you build it, they will come, right? But I don't know. Like I said, I know a lot of people that live in Las Vegas, and in fact, if I probably went to Las Vegas and moved there, I could have almost the same amount of like, oh, I can have a Saturday coffee with these guys. I can have, I would have that set up there, and they all said the same thing. And these guys aren't broke that I'm talking to, right? But they're just like, what's funny? I notice I talk like that in the world now. I'm not talking for myself. If I want to go spend $2,000 on a ticket, I can. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not bragging today on the show. I'm just telling you. I'm talking for the people. We're the people. The Me and Jesse podcast. Everybody, listen. We are for the people. We've always been that from day one. See, Jesse's, Jesus, if I had his money, I'd burn mine now. This guy's, you're printing money over there. You're printing money over there. And I love it. And you should be proud because you're so damn fucking talented that literally you should be printing money. And I told you that the second I met you, the day I met you.
Yeah, for sure.
Did I not tell you the day I met you?
You did.
100 years ago. You know what I mean? Like my opening line was, I probably can't afford you.
Well, it actually brings up an interesting thing because I was just in Montreal, as you said. I just got that new jersey back there.
Fantastic. Listen, let's be honest too. Look what you did. Is that deep or what?
Yeah. Well, it was my dad's favorite player. My dad passed away 16 years ago, but that was his favorite player. So got the number 9, and on the other side, it's actually it's the real one that they wear, and it's all in French, all on the inside, and the NHL logos in French. It's pretty cool. I was they sold me on it, but I was in Montreal, I was in the Bell Center, And that was built in 1996. And it
Yeah,
does not.
it seems like
Yeah.
like it's so new.
It does.
Doesn't it seem so new?
Because the guy I was with was comparing it to Rogers. I'm like, well, this thing's like 15 years older.
Yeah,
and it still feels that good. When you're out on the outside, it looks like an office building, right? Like you'd walk up to it and you're like, oh man, what is this? And then it's the arena. But yeah, it was so cool. I am blown away with that city, obviously, as you know, your wife's from there. But the way they don't do anything extra at the hockey game. There's nothing extra. They don't have girls skating around the ice collecting shovel in the snow. They don't have things. They don't even do an intermission show.
No.
They do nothing else.
Yeah.
They just play the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, it looks great and it sounds great and all that stuff, but I was blown away with how the people there they're hockey fans. And that's the thing. Like, even though they know their team isn't, that great, it's still packed.
Yeah.
And there's no they don't have McDavid and Draisaitl on their team.
No.
So they don't really have anyone that's flashy,
hey, Jesse,
but they still pack out that place.
Jesse, the Oilers don't have Draisaitl and McDavid on their team right now either.
That's true too.
Low hanging fruit. I just had to.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a show last week, but 2 weeks now, and nothing's gotten better over there in Edmonton.
No, there was someone was doing the highlights of the defensemen, like in slow motion, showing how out of position they are, and literally to the point of it's not even peewee hockey, it's below that, and it's a big problem. The way it looks, if they don't solve this problem quickly, they will not even make the playoffs. I'm telling you, they won't even make the playoffs. Forget about the Stanley Cup and all the rest of the stuff. There's just something really wrong with that team, and to have that kind of talent, it's like the Raiders. They have right now officially have a losing record, 5-6. But it's funny. Even the new coach, he said it best the other day. He goes, "Look at all the pieces I have." Yeah, the trick is to make all the pieces coincide together, and it's like that with every team. If you look at it, if you actually look at most of the teams in professional sports today, it doesn't matter what you have. It matters how you can put the pieces together. And that's been the big problem in a lot with the Oilers, with the Raiders, with look at, and then you look at your team, the Seahawks, right? With what little they do have left, they're still in the hunt. They lost yesterday, but big deal. But what I'm saying is they're still in the hunt. Once again, that's why I always say that Pete Carroll still is one of the best football coaches of all time, because he's always done, even when he had great players, he's doing it now with not so great players, and he's beyond super competitive because he knows how to put the pieces together. And if you don't know how to put the pieces together, you're not going to win.
No, it's absolutely true. I think that, the NFL is, again, it's whack this year. Joe Burrow out for the season, though. There goes the Bengals.
Unbelievable.
Done there.
Done.
So that's horrible. And Joe Burrow, it sucks because I love Joe Burrow, but the guy can't stay healthy. So,
but no, that's the ongoing trend, though, Jesse. Don't you notice that? Look at
and with how much they protect the quarterbacks.
Yeah,
in the league.
Anymore, you'd have to put a flag on them.
Yeah.
You literally, it's that bad in the NFL right now. There's been at least a dozen roughing the passer penalties that I've seen this year that are beyond pathetic. There's no way that's roughing the passer. They are protecting them at all costs. Jimmy, when Garoppolo gets hurt the way he is, he shouldn't play any more football. And I'm not putting him down because I like Jimmy. Aaron Rodgers, same thing. Aaron Rodgers, a phenomenal quarterback, won a Super Bowl. You know what? You're done, bro. Stop it. Don't play anymore. It's just going to get worse because if they get any softer on quarterbacks in the NFL, literally, you're going to put a flag on them. We're going to pull a flag off them. That's how you have to do it because it is literally to that level. When the great Tom Brady says it's not fair for defensive players in the NFL anymore, I agree.
Yeah. How about the return of Russell Wilson?
You tell me, bro. I started laughing yesterday when I was watching the game. I was like, this guy's back. I mean,
it's crazy. They're running it down to the wire, but it's Russell of old with the last 2 minutes left.
Listen, I was thinking about you last night when I was watching it. I was like, you imagine this guy, the ass whooping they took from Miami, they took from Miami.
Embarrassing.
I thought they were going to pack their bags and that was going to be the end of them. No, No, they've won 5 in a row now. It's unbelievable what they've done. And you know what? I hate Denver because they're in my division.
Yeah.
But good for them. At least they banded together banded together to say, okay, we're not going to get embarrassed like that ever again. And that's what's happened.
If you're anywhere near a television at 6:15 p.m. well, Mountain Time anyway, or 8:15 Eastern, make sure you're watching the game tonight. This could be the best game of the season. Eagles versus Chiefs. This is the one.
This is a war. This is going to be a street fight. This is going to be the best Monday Night Football game in a very long time.
I think so too. This is, and like again, these are Super Bowl contenders. This is what we need to have on Monday nights or Sunday nights, not like last week, which I called that bullshit, or the game with the Jets and the Raiders. Come on, dude, that was horrible.
And we won. So you know what the crazy part is though? You almost have to put these type of games on a Thursday night.
I know.
To save Thursday Night Football.
We'll be right back, everybody, in the Me and Jesse podcast.
Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavlich and Jesse Martineau. Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavlich and Jesse Martineau.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Me and Jesse podcast. My name is Mark Pavlich. Across the way in the Grove, the big, sexy Jesse Martineau, and our special guest today, everybody, very special guest, Chris Lights Out Lytle.
What's happening, fellas? Thanks for letting me come on here and talk with you guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. You know how, well, I don't know, Mark, I think you should start this one because Mark is, I don't want to tell this, but Mark is like an MMA god here in Canada. So he was really responsible for it being legalized here in Canada because it was illegal for a long time. And he actually went to Ontario and fought and got out the first real MMA show sanctioned in Canada. So, Mark's the MMA guru around here for sure.
Well, it's funny. My son tells me, because I'm so out of the MMA world because I stopped 10 years ago. But my son tells me this last weekend, he says, Dad, you know who I met? You know who I met this weekend? I go, who'd you meet this weekend? He said, I met Chris Lytle. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, yeah, he was here in Edmonton. And I go, what do you mean Chris Lytle was in Edmonton? What the hell is he doing in Edmonton? My son said, yeah, Dad, he's the nicest guy in the world. And my son says to me, Dad, what the hell's wrong with you? You have not had Chris Lytle on your show before? And I go, I have not. He goes, shame on you, Dad. And I said, I'm going to reach out to him. And I'm going to cancel our guest that was supposed to be on today. I'm going to put Chris Lytle in. And my son he's on a plane somewhere, but he started laughing when he heard you're on the show because he was yelling at me in the office the other day, like I should be shamed for not having Chris Lytle on the show.
Your son's a very smart guy. I'm not sure.
I like it.
He's a very intelligent individual. Yeah, no, I was so fortunate to be. I never been to Edmonton. I was there doing tryouts. Bare Knuckles coming up. You guys got to be there. It's going to be on March 2nd. It's going to be, it's a casino there. You guys will love it.
Yes, everybody. So you do know it's at the River Cree Resort and Casino, March 2nd. And you know what? Listen, we have now fell in love with bare knuckle fighting because we've had Robin Black on our show. And when he was on our show before, he's like, guys, you got to start watching bare knuckle. We weren't watching bare knuckle at the time. Then when you start watching it, you start to understand that it's very different than you think. Like these guys are skilled. These guys have, a lot of them have huge MMA backgrounds. But the part I loved about it, Chris, is that you're involved with it. And when you're involved in it, I've always looked at you. I mean, I trained lots of guys that used to fight in the UFC around the same time you were there, like Jason McDonald and guys like that. When I looked at your MMA record, I was shocked why you retired when you were 6 in your last 7 fights. You were 6 wins, 1 loss. You actually finished on a win. And I thought to myself, has anybody asked you why you stopped?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was at the top of my game. What really happened to me, man, is my whole career, I got started fighting in 98, different sport. married, had 4 kids. I was a firefighter the whole time I was fighting.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Full-time firefighter. So needless to say, I did it for the love of the sport. And there was just a lot of times, my wife didn't have to work for about 12 years. So I'm working 2 jobs. She's raising the kids. I remember after one of my fights, not long before that, I ended up having a knee surgery right before a fight, did the fight anyway. And after that fight, I was like, okay, I actually need to rehab my knee for a couple of weeks. Like, I never took off. I was always at the gym. I felt like, I can't train like all these other fighters who train full time. I'm doing this while trying to work at the fire department and have kids. So I never missed a gym. I was dedicated to be there because I had to work harder than everybody else. So anyway, I actually take a couple of weeks off to rehab my knee. And that's the first time I remember, I would go to my son's basketball game and my daughter's gymnastics meet. And I just got this overwhelming sense of like a failure as a father. I started feeling like a lot of regret. I was just like, damn, man. My son was a freshman in high school. My daughter's in 8th grade. I'm thinking, I'm missing my kid's life. You know what I mean? And I was like, why? So I could keep fighting? I was like, oh, man. I was 30. I was just getting ready to turn 37. And, I remember they called me for my next fight. It was Dan Hardy. I was like, all right, main event. I was so excited. And I went to the gym that day. And on the way to the gym, I felt like the first time ever, I shouldn't be going to the gym today. I just felt bad. I felt regret, and I was like, so I went to the gym that day. I went home and I sat down with my wife and I was just like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? So we said, all right, here's what we're going to do. It's going to be my last fight. And then that gave me the freedom to train my ass off. I was like, I'm going to win my last fight. No way.
And you did. Yeah, I remember that.
I know. So it worked out.
You did.
I laid it all out there. I was like, this is going to be it. So it was just an overwhelming feeling of not being a good dad anymore.
Did anybody know, Chris? Besides your family, did anybody know it was your last fight?
Just my my 2 coaches there. I didn't tell.
Nobody else.
No, I told. At the day of my weigh-ins, I wrote a letter to Dana White, and I walked up and I handed that to him, just thanking him for helping change my life, my family's, and all the positive things they've done for me. And then I think that night I ended up telling I think Ariel Hawani, I kind of told him that afterwards. But until then, I didn't tell anybody, man. I remember my buddy Matt Mitrione was there, and I remember he saw, he's like, what the hell was in that letter? Because I didn't even tell anybody my team.
Wow.
Jeez. Now, you had actually a pretty good professional boxing career as well.
Yeah, man. It was great. I started doing boxing and really just that, I was already involved with MMA, but I just want to get my stand-up better. And then they threw me into pro boxing right away. I started doing well. And I said, hey, I kind of like this sport. I was like, at one point, I didn't even know. I don't know if you guys ever saw the show, but they had a show called The Contender. And it had Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. Great show.
Sylvester Stallone. Remember that? And
awesome show.
After the first season, my boxing coach got me a tryout, right to the front of the line. I have to go through and talk about it. For the season 2 of that, they were going to do it, and they wanted me to be on it. And I was like, I was in, and I went and met with them. And they go, here's the thing. We're deciding between 168 and 147. Obviously, if you do 147, you can't make it. But if you do 168, you're in. They love the fact I was a UFC guy and I was a firefighter. And they ended up going with 147. So had they not done that, and if they went with 168, I might have just been a boxing guy.
Wow.
Nobody know my name for MMA because I would have. I'd had some UFC fights, but it was before. A few months later, they got a hold of me. I went on the Ultimate Fighter 4, and the rest went down that path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, Pancrase, too, which everybody loved.
Old school, baby. I loved it.
Yeah.
Jesse, his last 3 fights were Matt Brown, Matt Serra, and Dan Hardy.
Yeah, that's.
Brian Foster was in there too. Kevin Burns. I know all these guys personally, but it was just crazy that people that are into MMA now probably don't know what that is, but at that time, that is just killer be killer row. You know what I mean? Fantastic. And you always conducted yourself, Chris, in such a way that I was always wondering, when you were done with MMA. This bare knuckle thing came up, but how did that come up to you?
Oh man, what's funny is I still went to the gym. I go to the gym one morning and somebody came in. They're like, hey, you're friends with Joe Riggs, right? Yeah. He did a bare knuckle fight in England. I said, what the hell's wrong with Joe? Bare knuckle? Does he need money? What's going on? I was like,
that's it.
I thought, what is wrong with this dude? So I hit play on the video. I start watching. And about halfway through the second round, I looked at that guy who sent me the tape and I go, hey, who do I talk to get to do this? And he's like, what? You were talking about how stupid it was. And I go, it's not what I thought. I watched it and it's like, this is skilled. They're in a ring. There's a judge. There's a referee. I thought it was guys in a warehouse beating.
Yeah.
No, I was like, this is highly skilled. And so I got a hold of them. They end up having me out. Only reason my family was like cool with it because I was like, look, I'm not gonna fight like I do in boxing. In boxing, I'm an inside like Mexican style fighter, get in bruised.
Yeah, this is different. Yeah,
you can't do that here. So I'm not gonna. You can't take the head damage. I recognize that immediately. It's like you can't trade punches. So
no.
You have to be skilled in this. You have to hit and not get hit. So that's when I had to, which I wasn't that kind of a fighter. I was afraid I'm gonna knock your head off. But I had to change my style to do my bare knuckle career, which I love. But then I changed like that. I'm such a huge fan of this sport. They're exciting. They're fast paced.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to get the brain damage. My least favorite thing is, all my favorite boxers ever, they all have brain damage. I mean, Arturo got it, all the guys because you can't fight like that without having problems. But bare knuckles different. You don't, not only the fights, but in training, you don't take damage. If you're smart, you got to train the right way. And I just think it's what I'm really afraid of. You're going to see a lot of MMA guys right now who are going to see Conor McGregor, and they're going to see Francis Ngannou, and they're going, I'm going to go do boxing and make all this money. You're going to get brain damage. You're going to get wrecked. You're going to get hurt, and you're not going to talk right. And then that's the path they're going down, and they don't even understand it, man. I mean, they need to. If you're going to go to any route when you get older, go bare knuckle. Don't go to the other side, man. You're going to get hurt.
Well, when you're young too, like you think like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
No, that was me.
We all said that.
That was me. I did that for years and just stupid training. Not even like. I got a bad story. I remember back in like the year 99 or 2000, one of my buddies named Alex Steebling, he fought in Pride, said was a good guy. But I remember we were in Indianapolis training, and like I had one set of boxing gloves and he didn't have any. So like we'd spar sometimes and I'd get the right glove and he'd get the left. And then we'd trade. I'm like, that was so dumb. You're not getting any better. You're just getting tougher. But I mean, we were tough as hell, but you can't train fighting with one glove. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I can't believe I did it. It's so embarrassing. But
I mean, yeah, that is it. So bare knuckle, obviously, like I remember when me and Mark first saw it, we're like, "What is this? This is nuts!" And we're actually like, "Ugh, I don't know if we can watch this."
Yeah.
But who was that we had on the show?
It's actually true, Jesse, because I can watch any type of things fighting. Like, no, I'm not joking. Like I've been in third world countries watching chickens fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and my son would be there, and I'm like, and my son's like, "You like this, Dad?" And I'm like, I actually do. Like, so people don't. But now, when I watched the bare knuckle, I was kind of like, what threw me off was how easily everybody was getting cut, and that's the part that kind of threw me off at the beginning. Then when I started watching better bare knuckle people fighting, that changed my whole perspective on it. See, when you're watching the undercard fight, and these guys are kind of pretty fresh, they are doing inside fighting, and then they're getting just cut up. It's crazy. But then when you watch the better guys fight at it, it's night and day different. And when we saw Luke Rockhold get involved, Jesse and I knew going into it that this was the wrong sport for him, because he found out very quickly that this does not translate from MMA directly to bare knuckle box. It does not. This is a sport for dogs, man. That's why boxers haven't fared well either. They're nice and crisp and clean. Yep. And you get this grimy, dirty MMA guy who comes in there and will put his head in there and just throw hard punches like a Mike Perry. He's built for it. He's tough as nails. He comes in just raw, dirty, and just tries to hurt you. That's why I love it. I always say bare knuckle is different because it's a fight. MMA, boxing, those are athletic contests nowadays. Who's a better athlete, faster, longer? This is still a fight. Whoever's the toughest guy is going to go out there. This is a fight. It's a fight. That's a fight. That's what I want to see, and that's what a lot of people want to see. People don't know yet. People want to see fights, not athletic contests. I mean, I can appreciate a technical fight. A lot of people can't, though. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. But who was that we had on the show, Mark, that was going to bare knuckle?
Adam Belcher.
Oh, Belcher, right? Sorry.
Yeah,
Belcher.
Belcher.
So he convinced us to start going into watching it.
Yeah,
We're
when Belcher went. Now, see, this is the part I didn't understand. Belcher got us all gunned up to go watch bare knuckle boxing. Then he went into bare knuckle MMA, and I'm like, I don't get the bare knuckle MMA because it's basically a throwback to when I started. I started MMA in 1999. So in 1995, they were still doing bare knuckle MMA. So it's almost like a throwback to that era. And I don't know. The bare knuckle MMA, I'm not that big on.
Man, I was excited when I first heard about it, but then when I watched it, I was like, I don't like this.
Me neither.
Bare knuckle MMA was cool back when people weren't good, and
that's right.
Right.
People have gotten too good now.
Right.
The good, so it doesn't make sense. Now
I agree.
Nobody really wants to stand up. They get the ground, they hit you a couple of times. I'm like, I don't like it at all. I thought
neither.
I would. It's not entertaining to me.
No.
So I get kudos for trying it out. I understand the principle. I thought I would like it. I watched it. I didn't like it. I didn't think I'd like bare knuckle boxing, but I do. I love it. You know what I mean? So you don't know till you see it, and now I know I don't like that.
But you're right, Chris. If you watch it, and like we did, we watched it, and then when I watched the bare knuckle MMA, it's two very different sports. When I watched the Belcher Roy Nelson fight the other day, and I was like, Roy, when he was on the ground, he didn't punch at all. Like, he didn't punch anybody. Like in MMA, he would have been punching him for some reason, but not in bare knuckle MMA. It was weird. And it was like, it turned into like a grappling match on the ground. He wasn't hitting him. So I was like, what's going on here? But it's just because that's not who they are. Roy Nelson's an MMA fighter. He's not an MMA boxer. He's not a bare knuckle boxer. He's not a bare knuckle MMA person. And Belcher should stick to bare knuckle standing up, not the MMA version. And me and Belcher get along awesome. But next time we talk, I'll tell him the same thing. Come on, bro. Like, someone paid you a lot of money to switch over, but at the same time you need to switch back, because I thought he lost the fight against Roy Nelson. I watched it. And wait a second. Not that I thought he lost. He lost the fight against Roy Nelson. What are we talking here? Like, we're pretending like I don't know what I'm talking about. He lost, and I love Belcher, but he lost. It's an MMA fight. Now, if there were MMA boxing, he would have killed Roy Nelson.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't watch the fight because, like I said, I watched like the first couple, and then I was like, this isn't my thing. But everybody was just talking about the robbery
it was a robbery. Yeah, he lost. But they gave him the fight, and a hometown decision, and I'm okay with it because I like Belcher. So if he gets a freebie, I'm okay with it too. But he lost.
Yeah, that's the word. But whatever. Like I said, man, I don't get it really. Good for him. I hope he enjoyed himself, but I want him back over here where he belongs with us.
I agree, and we're gonna drill that into his head because he does fit that position very well, and he really needs to rethink that big time, because Belcher's a great guy. It's just sometimes people lead things to different directions, and I've been in the fight game so long, I've seen it all. So I get what Mazadov is doing over there with the bare knuckle MMA, but I'm just not a fan of it. I'll never watch it again. I'm sure of it.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. Do you think you have the best chin in the game? 72 pro fights, never knocked out.
Well, to be honest with you, man, I've had the funny thing about that is I've had a lot more fights than that. I used to have more on my record. I had like I think 48 wins or something. But what sucked for me is they went back through and they came and like, well, look, this was in an unregulated state. This doesn't count anymore.
Well, that's how it was, though. That's how it was, though. Yeah.
None of the states were regular.
No, that's right.
The first fight they have on my record, I think I was in Japan. I was like, I wasn't 0-0, and they sent me Japan. I was like 12-0, and then they just took away. But I'm like, you took away one loss? No, they took away every one of my fights. They took away was a win. So whatever. But it's just funny. I probably had closer to 100 fights. But wow. To be honest with you, I think the whole time I fought, I think I had one concussion.
Wow.
And that was in a pro boxing match. So,
wow.
And it wasn't even a bad one. It was just a mild one. I don't know if I just got like that Homer Simpson syndrome. I got a big, thick skull or what it is, but something's going on. I don't get knocked down.
What's the hardest you ever been hit, Chris? Who hit you the hardest? Who's the person that hit you the hardest ever?
I I would say it was my boxing match. I got him Omar Pittman. Omar Pittman. He was a prospect from Philly. They brought him down, and I was like TBA. You know, they said to be announced. Like he was the main guy, and we bumped heads. I got this scar right here on the top of my head, and I was bleeding. And then he hit me with the left hook, and all I remember is like counting 3, 4, 5. I was, oh shit, I got to get up. I got up, and then I ended up knocking him out in the 7th round. So
oh my gosh,
that was a bruising, rough fight. And I remember afterwards, my coach was like, "That's one." You know, I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Look, you only get 5 wars, and you're done." And I love it that my coaches thought like that. Like they actually cared about me, because I'm talking about those guys, because they know. I remember my second boxing match ever. I went down to Memphis. And the guy kind of checking me in. I couldn't understand what he was saying. He was punchy. And I looked at my guy, and he's like, "We ain't going to let that happen to you, dude."
Oh, that's
I said,
awesome.
"Hey," and he was like, "We're not driving this car till the wheels fall off." Like I said, after one war, he said, "You get 4 more wars, and I don't care what's going on. I don't care how much money is involved. You're not doing anymore." I was like, "All right, cool." So I think I only had really 2 wars in boxing, but I had some in MMA too.
Who were your coaches when you boxed that said that to you? Do you remember?
Yeah, Keith Palmer.
Okay.
My guy named Keith Palmer.
This seems like that. Does that happen nowadays more? Because I don't really see that happening back then much. Well, just them taking care of you like to that level.
I don't know. Geez, I mean, like, I know it didn't happen back in the day.
No.
And I think it still doesn't happen in some places. Like, when you go and you move gyms and you go to another gym that's like an already established guy, you're just a number to them, in my opinion. Like they didn't bring you up. They don't know you. I mean, they're just like, oh, it's a business transaction. I'm here to make money off of you, and it's a give and take relationship. But when they nurture you and they bring you into the sport, and that, I think there's a different relationship. So my guy had a responsibility, he felt like, with me. I gave everything I could, and vice versa. It was a give and take relationship. I helped him, he helped me, and it was just different. A lot of times, if you just go in like, hey, I was trained over here in Indiana. Now I'm going down to American top team in Florida and training. I would say they're going to be like, well, you're just a number. I don't care. It's a business transaction. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Tell us about the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship and why this should be the next thing.
And what's your position there, Chris? What's your official position at Bare Knuckle?
I am I'm obviously the color commentator, but I am in charge of the tryouts. I am.
You are.
I don't know, maybe make up some title, vice president of tryouts or whatever. So I'm in charge of the tryouts right now. I go look for new talent. So the way I love this sport is, to me, you get all these guys in, let's say, MMA. You've done MMA for 10 years. Now you have back problems. Now you have knee problems. Now you have. It is so much easier on your body. If you're having trouble, it'll add 8 years to your career, 5 years, because all you have to do is you go in there and you work on these hands. And so you don't have to do jiu-jitsu, wrestling, grappling.
No, yeah.
The grind with MMA, that MMA grind is unbelievably tough. And you can do it when you're young. And all of a sudden you get 10, 12 years of that, your body's broken down. And this can make you say, okay, I still like to throw punches. I can come in here and really dedicate myself to this. And it can make it so much easier. I would get done with practice and be like, I didn't do enough. Yeah, you did. You're just used to being exhausted in your body.
Mm-hmm.
This can help that. It will keep you having less brain problems. And to me, it's the most exciting thing out there. I talk to a lot of people. I go, are you an MMA fan? Yeah. Are you an MMA fan? Or are you a UFC fan? And go, what's the difference? Well,
yeah, they don't know.
Do you watch Bellator? Do you watch PFL? Do you watch the local fights? No, I watch UFC. Okay, and half the people I know who watch UFC, when it goes to the ground, they're like, stand them up. You're a bare knuckle fan, you don't even know it because you haven't seen it. Because all we are, we're fast paced, a lot of knockouts, a lot of fast fights. It's just very entertaining. We don't get many boring fights. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to watch this and see all the positive aspects. You got guys who are really coming to fight. It is a true fight, and it's entertaining. I think they're going to be like, man, this is fun. Why don't we start watching this more? I mean, and we're a fraction of the price of the UFC. So I think we make a lot of sense.
Are you guys now sanctioned almost everywhere?
No, what really helped us, we just got passed by the ABC. They just made like universal rules.
Yeah.
I remember that happened UFC,
Same
mixed
thing.
martial arts in 2001. We just got that to happen. So We have a ton of states who are wanting to open up now. So I know we're getting ready. We have a big fight in Utah coming up. Obviously we have, the King of Violence. But I mean, we got Georgia's open up. We got several different states. I know Oregon. We have. I know Michigan's talking about it. Wisconsin. Illinois even called us. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, Illinois, they're terrible commission. They never won anything. They're trying to get almost Iowa. Oklahoma. I mean, we just got a bunch of people who are wanting to get involved now since they passed the rules.
How about Texas?
Texas is right there on our list. We're definitely trying to get it. We'll be there soon. I promise. We'll be in Texas soon. Nevada, even. I know we've been kept out of Nevada, even though they'll allow somebody to slap someone in the face who can't defend themselves.
Dumbest sport in the world. Sport in the world.
Don't even say sport. Not
Yeah.
sport.
You're correct. Sorry. You're right.
You can't even defend yourself.
No.
It's so stupid. Oh, my God.
I talked to one of the referees, and one of the referees was like, look, Chris, when we say in an MMA fight, you have to be able to tell people to defend yourself. You can't do this. I would stop it before it starts because you can't defend yourself. I'm like, it's crazy. I don't understand. I mean, they put it on TV. They got it late. I'm like, I know why. We all know why. I'm like, that's embarrassing, man. I mean, you're going to legalize
when I saw Dana say it for the first time, I thought it was a practical joke. I was like, is this guy fucking
April
kidding?
1st?
I really, Chris, I'm not even joking. I was like, is he joking? He's saying it with a straight face too. I was like, does he not understand that the rest of the world goes, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life? I watched it one time and I said, never again. I was feeling horrible for the people that I thought to myself, they're standing there. What individual would ever stand there with his hands behind his back and let someone else smack him in the face? That's unconstitutional. You know what I mean?
We had a guy who fought for us. Not very good. He did that thing for them, slapped. I think he got paid $2,000 to get knocked out. I'm like, man, you got paid $2,000. I don't even know what to say to you, dude. I felt horrible for him.
Oh, man. But you got Mike Perry and Alvarez on December 2nd in Salt Lake City. I mean,
wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
And you see, the thing I like about this is exactly what I'm talking about. Those are the type of guys I want to see fight. I don't care if it's in MMA, if it's in boxing, if it's a hockey fight. I don't care what it is. Those two dudes come to fight. And those are exactly what I like to see. And getting them coming here for the King of Violence is perfect. I mean,
Chris, did that happen? What happened? Mike Perry, I kind of liked him when he fought MMA, but I love him in bare knuckle. Like he is reincarnated. He is now risen from the ashes. It is bananas. He literally is the guy now. Like, I want to watch Mike Perry, and I love how people think it's not the same Mike Perry from MMA. This is Mike Perry bare knuckle. This sport was made for this animal.
He's
and it's unbelievable how when he just fights in bare knuckle, it is totally different. He is so confident in bare knuckle. I think is he arguably one of the top guys for sure.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I mean, he's confident. Like I said, when people think about this sport, they just think, he was made for it. Like I said, what do you need to be? I always tell people to be great at this sport, you got to be a good hammer, but you got to be a good nail too.
Yeah,
he's tough. He's tough. Yeah. He doesn't mind getting hit. But I mean, he's skilled enough. He's awkward enough. He hits hard enough, and he can take a punch. He's got the full package. I mean, you have to be. That's why I say you got to be a dog, and then you got to be able to go in there and take a punch and not let it bother you. Keep coming. I mean, Luke Rockhold laid a hell of a shot on him, knock him back, and Mike comes forward. Yeah, I mean, I'll take it, but now can you take it? And the answer was no.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad for Luke that day, but when I watched the fight, it really was, what's the word I'm trying to use here? Pathetic. So when Luke fucking straight up bitched out, he literally got, he literally said that's enough because he got hit too hard. You imagine that? Like, go out on your shield, Luke. Just drop to your knees. Do whatever you're going to do. No, he was still standing, Jesse, and said, holy shit, man. Like, I got hit too hard. Like, I've never seen that in my life.
Oh, man, you don't understand, like, how many people we have. I mean, we have it every time we put on a new fight where a person's been there first time, and they get hit. Sometimes they'll fall down, and you're going to see a look on their face like, the hell was that? It's like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. Now, that's what I love about what I'm doing with these tryouts. We got the tryouts, and those are leading to what's called the Prospect Series.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's
smart.
cool. I like
Bring
it.
them into the Prospect Series. You have to win a couple fights in the Prospect. Then we're going to get you up to a numbered one.
I love it.
So So then, right now we're still in the developing phase. So you're still getting a few guys who make it through onto the numbered cards. But here soon, within a year, you're not going to see anybody who hasn't fought in the prospects to make it there. So you're
So
going to know.
smart.
We're going to
So
know
smart.
by the time they get
Yeah.
there if they're ready to get punched in the face. You know what I mean? So that's how it has to be. You can't have these guys who get there, get him like, oh my God, what's that? My teeth just got knocked out. Yeah, your teeth got knocked out. So I love the prospect series. It's just the sport growing, maturing, and us figuring out how to make it to where we don't get those guys in there anymore. You're going to do it in the prospect series, but you're going to learn real quick. This sport ain't for you, or it is.
Yeah.
How many fights do you think they could do?
How many people showed up in Edmonton?
It just depends on
in Edmonton.
We only had like 20 people show up, but I mean, sometimes we're getting a lot. It just depends on the advertising and everything. And I don't think that was well advertised, but man, I tell you what, everybody there was tough as nails. Like it was quality over quantity. I mean, we did one in Virginia, and I swear there's probably at least 20 guys on there like, hey man, you guys, I mean, I appreciate you being here, but no chance. You know what I mean? There wasn't, I mean, there was tough to make the decision there because I would probably say I would have probably used 17 of those guys.
Wow.
Really? I mean, yeah. I mean,
wow.
At some level or not, they were wow. all very good. I mean, there was nobody who was like, you shouldn't be here. Maybe one or two, but I mean, like it was impressive, the quality. And there's some guys I'm really excited about. There's a couple guys I'm like, you're gonna have a good future here.
How many fights do you think they can go? Like, because you're not gonna be putting up 30 fights in this, are you?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's such a new sport. We've had we've had a couple guys who are in the double digits now. I mean,
yeah.
So the thing you guys are realizing when there's a big learning curve. One fight you get, and then you jump up that next fight, you really get it more, and then you get to about 5, and you really start getting it. And you don't take the damage you do because you understand how to move your head. You know the distancing. Like look at Lorenzo Hunt. Is he getting hit a lot? No, I mean
unbelievable. Lorenzo Hunt, how he came and reincarnated, unbelievable.
That's what I mean. And he's got a lot of fights. There's just some of these guys once they're getting past. Certain number of fights are really starting to figure this sport out, do a lot of positive things, do a lot of great things. Luis Palomino, he's another guy who's been around for a while. So, I mean, he's just really getting this sport too. So, it's just going to take people actually dedicating time to become a bare knuckle fighter. And that's what I love about these tryouts. I'm getting like guys who are in their early 20s who I'm like, well, are you an MMA fighter, boxer? Like, oh, I'm going to do bare knuckles. Like, that's their goal. It's not to be MMA. It's not to be an MMA star. Wow. It's not to be a boxer. It's to be a bare knuckle. I'm like, woo! My head is blown away because I'm like, that. I would have never thought that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you think John L. Sullivan? You think John L. Sullivan is smiling in his grave somewhere right now?
He better be.
He must be smiling in his grave, saying to himself, "Can you imagine?"
I was right.
That's right. That's right. Wow.
Well, Chris, we thank you so much for joining. What a great guy. I mean, everybody loves you. Like you go on Reddit and you put your name in Reddit, and there's people that love you and think that you're probably the most slept on legend in pro fighting.
I agree. Jesse, I've been around for a very long time, and I know everybody. And I don't know if Chris and I ever met when I was at the UFCs, but you're right. It's not right. You were slept on, and we're going to unsleep it on the Me and Jesse podcast because
that's humbling, and I really appreciate that. But the cool thing, like for me, I love my career. I thought it was great, but I'm looking forward, man. I want to help make this. I was there in UFC. I started fighting in '98. My first time I fought in UFC was in 2000. I was there before Dana and them were there. And then
that's right.
When I got bought by Zoof, when I was fighting for them again, and it actually blew up, I was in a cool position to be part of that. I feel like I went back in time, and now when I found bare knuckle, I see similarities. I'm like, I'm going to be part of this again. You know what I mean? So I'm using all my tools and everything I've developed over the past 20-something years to try and help this sport grow because it deserves it. And I'm just lucky to be part of this thing. And who gets to do that type of thing twice? I'm there. I'm doing it. I'm trying to help them grow in the right direction. I can't wait because I see such positive things here. I think we're going to be huge.
Awesome.
I think so too. December 2nd, Salt Lake City, Perry versus Alvarez. I mean, you just say that, you sold. It's sold.
Yeah.
Like that's so good. Thanks so much, Chris, for joining us, and good luck in the future with all this stuff. And hey, we hope to see you soon.
Hey man, if you guys want, I'll try and hook you guys up with some tickets and for Edmonton, man. When you guys want to come out to the fights, I'll take care of you.
Okay, buddy.
Beautiful. We love it. Thanks so much.
You got it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
all right.
buddy.
We'll see you later.
Everybody, Chris Lytle on the show today, everybody. Thank you so much, Chris, for being on the show, and we'll be back.
Introducing Backscape, the superhero of back hair removal.
Hey there, I'm in Backscape World Headquarters. My name is Baxter Archibald Kingscape, spokesperson here at Backscape. And I know why you're here. Either you or someone you know has one hairy back, and you're trying to get rid of it.
We understand the struggle with unruly back hair. In fact, 77% of women agree. It's not the ideal look. But don't worry, we're here to help you reach your smoothest potential. We've built Backscape to tame that wild back jungle in minutes. Our mission is to empower every man to feel his best, look his best, and help him reach his smoothest potential.
Backscape gives you the confidence whether you're at the pool, the beach, hey, anywhere you go. You can stay smooth all year long.
Our patented technology ensures the smoothest, most comfortable, and close shave every time.
We believe in something else here at Backscape, and that's how you feel about us. Our customer service is the best. Hey, even if you need relationship advice, our customer service agents are that good.
We're so confident that you'll love the Backscape experience that we...
Welcome back, everybody. Fantastic guest on the show today, Chris Lights Out Lytle, who literally, you believe that, Jesse? His last 7 fights, who he fought, and he went 6-1.
I know.
And he won against Dan Hardy in his last fight, and then decided it's a wrap.
And never being KO'd. There's not many guys that have done that.
Who can say that?
Yeah, over 100, and he said he got 30 fights taken away from him. Like over 100 pro fights, never been KO'd. That's wild, actually.
Nuts.
And he was bare knuckle. So as well, he threw 3 bare knuckle fights too. So like, all right, that's pretty awesome. But this bare knuckle thing, dude, I think I might get into this.
Uh-oh.
I know.
Uh-oh.
This is kind of something that, and again, I love MMA. I love jiu-jitsu. I love that stuff.
Do.
So I don't care when they go to the ground. But for what they're selling, and now that I understand that it's not, this is actually probably safer for your brain. I know it doesn't seem that way, but it is.
You know why, Jesse? There's not, Jesse, you remember when we used to box?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we used to box on Thursday, people, I don't know if you know
this. I
this.
didn't get hit in the head that much.
Okay, but you would admit, those continuous jabs to your head, continuous jabs.
Yeah, they add up.
Jab, they add up, and that's the part that does not happen here.
Well, but I mean, boxing gloves were designed to make the fights last longer because they did used to do bare knuckle, and they weren't lasting long enough. So they put on these huge pillows on your hand so the guy could take more damage and not get knocked out right away.
And that's what's happened.
Yeah, but Chris's sell of bare knuckle made sense. He's like, "Are you a MMA fan or UFC fan?" UFC. I only watch UFC. Well, what do you think when they go to the ground? Are you one of the ones that boo? Okay, if you're one of the ones to boo, then you like bare knuckle because that's essentially all you want to see is striking. So watch bare knuckle because you're going to get that in spades.
My son, Dave Pavlich, has said it over and over again. You don't want to know what the greatest sport in the world is, and it hasn't been created yet, is basically kickboxing with MMA gloves on.
I thought that
No.
isn't. Yeah, they use boxing gloves, don't they?
Yes. But if you can do a sport, now you probably can get away with it. You could do a kickboxing K1 style sport with MMA gloves on. This is gold.
That could be incredible, actually.
Yes, my son has always said that. And he said, Dad, we should start that sport because we basically were starting MMA in Canada. He goes, we'll call it whatever we'll call it, and then we'll put it together. But if bare knuckle can get sanctioned everywhere, basically you would get sanctioned wearing MMA gloves.
Yeah, it's pretty much MMA.
Kickboxing.
It's just
Kickboxing with MMA gloves.
Dude, that's great. What was Chevalo's thing? What was Chevalo wanting to do?
Well, he wants to do a Muay Thai event.
Oh, Muay Thai, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but Muay Thai even though you use the term Muay Thai is a mistake.
Yeah.
It's kickboxing.
Yeah, it has to be something.
No
else.
Disrespect to the Muay Thai people in the world, but
no
you got to
gonna
call it
understand
kickboxing. and you can't play that. You can't play the Thailand music in the background. You gotta play cool music. You gotta turn it into a sporting event, and it would work.
Well, I think your kickboxing with MMA gloves would work.
Oh, the best. It would be the best sport of all time.
Jeez.
You make MMA gloves and you do kickboxing, and you're talking the knockout in K1 when K1 was at its peak. The knockout ratio was about like 85%.
Jeez.
Okay. 85%. Okay. So what it means is when you're putting on a fight card, if you have 10 fights, 8.5 fights, people are getting slapped.
That's not that much lower than bare knuckle.
No, bare knuckles higher probably. But
yeah,
what
it
I'm
is,
trying
but
to tell you,
it's not that much lower.
But what I'm trying to say is it's easier to sell to people than bare knuckle because you're wearing gloves. You know, it's all that kind of stuff. It's basically 4 ounces. The difference is 4 ounces.
Yeah.
But there's no ground game. It's all stand up. It's kickboxing with MMA gloves. That would be the ultimate sport of all time.
Jeez. Well,
literally the ultimate sport of all time.
I don't know if we should be saying this live. We should be like hiding this one.
People, it's too much work, everybody. You got to understand. You want to do it. It's a lot of work, you know.
Yeah.
I get calls all the time. I get calls to this day. People want me to be advisor for this and advisor for that with MMA, with people that want to start new organizations in the United States. And I had one yesterday, you know, and it's like I tell them that's not my thing anymore.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, if that's not your thing, then that's not your thing. But
I don't mind doing commentating with you. I super enjoy. So bless you. But I super enjoy doing that with you. So anybody that wants us to do that, we'll still do that. And it's not cheap, but we'll still do that. And then you know, I enjoy all.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, but I enjoy it. I enjoy like when we did that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that was
you
fun.
know. Yeah, I you know.
Well, let's get Dave to start up kickboxing MMA.
Yeah,
we'll be the commentators. We'll get another guy.
Not MMA. Kickboxing with MMA gloves.
Yeah, with MMA gloves. Who else? We'll get someone, a third guy. We need someone. Who could we get in there? We could get
Chavallo.
Let's get Chavallo in there.
Chavallo, come on, let's go. You know. But that's the sport that everybody once they see it, they'd be like, oh shit.
I'll just be the ring guy. I don't even need to be in there.
And
Chavallo
Jesse,
can do it. You can
not
do
in
it
a cage. Not in a cage.
Not in a cage. In a ring.
It has to be in a ring.
Yeah.
And it'll look so cool. And literally, you know, you make everybody you uniform it like everybody's got the same shorts, different color.
Sponsor,
you know,
yeah.
but like really cool shorts, like for the organization. Really cool gloves. You know, it's different, maybe even a different color than usual. And then you know, you get it going like that.
Jeez.
I know. It's crazy. I think about all these weird things all the time, but because we know this business probably more than anybody, but it's definitely would be the coolest sport of all time.
Well, jeez, man, if you send all your messages to Mark Pavlich at Mark Pavlich and everything, and tell him it's time. It's time.
I'm digging TikTok these days, though, man. I'm digging TikTok. Yeah, I'm digging TikTok. I'm on TikTok bandwagon. The problem is every time I'm on TikTok, not the problem. The coolest thing ever, I always see the Backscape ads on TikTok, and literally there is tons of ads on TikTok of Backscape.
Well, it's Black Friday week.
Starring the one and only Jesse Martineau in all the ads. Literally, you are basically the spokesperson for Backscape.
I was in Montreal.
Yes.
A guy stopped me.
I had to.
On the street.
No surprise.
Are you the back shaver guy? And I said, yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
and he's like, I see your stuff. So there you go, guys. It's everywhere.
And everybody, it's easy. Go to backscape.com. It's easy.
Black Friday sales.
SCAPE.com. Backscape.com. And trust me, the product works. And it works well.
Black Friday sales out now?
Yes.
Head on over. Save.
Is that this Friday?
It started already. Started today.
Oh, started today, everybody. Yep. Little sale going on. Let's go, Backscape. And don't forget, everybody, our dear sponsors at Crystal Glass, your clear choice for all your glass needs. Go to crystalglass.ca today. And today, announced today, everybody, they have 2 new stores.
Oh.
So now it's official. Crystal Glass has 51 locations throughout Western Canada.
It's mind-blowing.
It's unbelievable.
Rest in peace,
started in a pickup truck 4 years ago by the late, great Ed Bean, and is going today with 51 locations.
One of the reasons that Edmonton still has a hockey team, that man.
Easily I can't express how much I loved Ed Bean. He is literally one of the classiest human beings you'll ever meet in your entire life. In fact, you and I have 1 or 2 pictures with Ed Bean, but you know all the famous people we've been around. I got no pictures with them. Ed Bean, which a lot of people that watch our show don't know who he is, but you should know who he is. He's the founder of Crystal Glass, but he did so many other things. He was a huge philanthropist, and donated more money than he ever needed to donate to everybody. And he passed away last year, and he just was the greatest.
Well, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Hey, tune into that game in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Eagles. I mean, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited for that. I'm actually excited for this one.
Me too.
Maybe the first game this year I've been excited for.
I totally agree.
I don't get excited for the Raiders. And
I was excited for the one last week when we won.
The Raiders, dude, that was horrible.
We won.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You won. It wasn't a good game.
But that's
boring.
Why I'm excited.
Can't believe it's a Sunday nighter. It's a joke.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
That's Mark Pavlich, everybody. I'm Jesse Martineau. This has been the Me and Jesse podcast. Thanks so much, Chris, for joining us. Tune in. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, December 2nd, Salt Lake City, Utah. Perry versus Alvarez. Jeez, man. What a
crazy fight.
Crazy. I want to see Alvarez sleep, though.
Oh, you want to see him win?
I want to see Alvarez go to sleep.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I want Perry to win.
I want Perry to, tuck him into bed real nice.
I'm on the Perry bandwagon and bare knuckle like you have no idea.
Absolutely.
I agree.
We'll see you next time, everybody, on the Me and Jesse podcast.
Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/Me and Jesse. Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/Me and Jesse. Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/Me and Jesse. Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast.